Our hero steps with his signature footwear on the crystalline surface of the magic star at his lowest after betraying the family he's built. Puss has been running the whole movie, running from retirement, running from those he loves, running from mortality itself. But at the wishing star, he reaches the final destination on his journey. There's nowhere left for him to run, and it's time for him to face his fears. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is an excellently done movie, but one section that is crucial to get right that I think it nails is the ending. In any story, movies or otherwise, the ending is important because it has to somehow take everything established throughout the story and wrap it up in a satisfying little bow, answering almost all the questions it began with and giving the thematic and emotional arc of the story a conclusion. Puss in Boots is filled with many moments like those in its third act, but one scene easily felt like it had the highest stakes because not only did it have grand cinematography, not only did it have music that enhanced every moment, but it resolved the arc of the main character with the highest stakes in the film so far. Here's what made that moment truly a memorable conclusion. The first thing you may notice while watching the final battle between Puss and Death is that it's very similar to their first encounter, but with slight differences. His sword was placed before him, but instead of running, he faces Death head-on. Puss was disarmed, but nowhere to run. He parries with the knife he got along the way. While before he was too slow to make any of his attacks, this time he takes a defensive stance and fends off against Death. While we saw Puss's reflection in Death's sickles before, now we see the reverse. And of course, ending the fight, we see Puss urging Death.
Pick it up.
These are all part of a process called bookending, which means that the end is very much a reflection of what happened in the beginning. Writers use this to easily convey to the audience how the character has grown throughout their journey, whether through a difference in proficiency with something they struggled with in the beginning, or a difference in perspective. Puss is put in the same situation, but he reacts totally differently, showing the sense that he's progressed and matured throughout the story. It's effective, and it fits pretty snugly with Dan Harmon's story circle format of storytelling. In the end of this circle, there's a return to the familiar, or a return to the character's new familiar, with the point being to showcase the change that has occurred in the story. In this scene, the change that is being showcased is in Puss, who gradually grows throughout the story to be more than just the flawed version of himself that he was at the start. We could see this earlier in the movie with him feeling genuine regret for what he did to Kitty, and with how he interacts with his past lives.
You know what? You guys are jerks. It is very conflicting for me.
I think the thing that actually triggered Puss to realize that he's changed as a person is the moment just before Death shows up, where Perito gives him the wish he's been after the whole movie, and he delivers this line.
You know, I've only ever had one life, but sharing it with you and Kitty has made it pretty special. Maybe one life is enough?
This really puts things into perspective for Puss. He didn't need 9 lives to live one life fully. In fact, he was privileged to have more than one life, and he squandered it in his youth. Even if he did manage to get those lives back, would he use them properly? Or would he just waste them like all the others? It was this realization that carried him into his fight with Death. A haunting whistle can be heard echoing through the distance. Fear fills Puss's heart as it is reminded of what that whistle means. Death. Sickles clash against the surface of the wishing star, flames igniting around the hooded wolf and separating our hero from any form of support. Puss is given the opportunity to continue running, to make his wish and regain his lives. But when confronted with death, Puss decides to stop running. He takes up his sword as a new man, or cat, or whatever. This movie is a Shrek spinoff. Part of what makes this finale and this battle so intense is the stakes of the moment. Yes, just like the rest of the movie, Puss is in danger of dying, but in this instance, it becomes a futile resistance against an inevitable force of nature. Puss cares now. He's got something to lose now. He has family. When creating a finale to your movie, you want the stakes to be the highest they've ever been. This can be done very right, or it can be done very wrong. The wrong way to take this is to make your finale world-ending for every single movie you do. And I'm not saying that a purely external threat can't work, but it can only go so far. Of the final battles in Puss in Boots 2, there are 2 ways of creating stakes. One battle has Jack Horner return when he's at his strongest, with the threat that he'll hoard all the magic in the world for himself. The other battle is the personification of death coming to take the life of one person. While it seems like the stakes would arguably be higher in the Jack Horner battle, I think that we've just proven the opposite true, and there's a reason for that. Personal stakes. As long as you follow a few steps earlier in the movie to get the audience to this point, they'll care much more about stakes that are personal to your character than stakes that are large in scope. You really see this in the recent flood of multiverse movies, which have stakes larger than they've ever been, but audiences are getting burnt out on them, and they don't care. Well, one movie breaks through multiverse fatigue by using personal stakes. And if you want to go more in depth on the topic, why don't you click this video right here? I mean, you did just watch a whole video about Puss in Boots too. You can probably watch a Spider-Verse one. It's cool, trust me. I made it. I should know. Alright then.